A federal judge in D.C. has rejected the Republican National Committee's attempt to block a subpoena from the January 6th Select Committee. The judge ruled the panel can demand records from the RNC's email fundraising vendor. The decision is a win for the committee investigating the Capitol riot as they prepare for public hearings in June. CBS News congressional correspondent Scott MacFarlane is with me now. Scott, I know you talked to House Select Committee member Elaine Luria recently, and she says that this investigation could continue beyond the public hearings. What did she say might happen?
And Nicole, we know now there are an estimated 8 or 9 public hearings planned by this committee beginning June 9th, some during the day, some in prime time. But Ms. Luria made pretty clear the committee will continue its interviews. It's investigating after those hearings are over, despite the fact the committee is very much up against the clock. We know they still want to talk to Mark Meadows, the former chief of staff, Rudy Giuliani, Donald Trump Jr., now some of their own colleagues in the House Republican Conference. But she also told me they still want to talk to the people who were actually here amid the mob January 6th.
Some of the defendants in the criminal cases have told the courts that they've talked to you all. And they've used that as an argument for it, that they're doing the best they can to participate in the system. Generally speaking, has the committee found value talking to accused rioters?
Certainly. I mean, people who were there that day on January 6th, understanding, why did you come to D.C.? How did you know about this event? Did you ride a bus? Who paid for the bus? And there's immense value in talking to those people, and those people who have cooperated with the Department of Justice, have agreed to come talk to the committee. We've gained a significant amount of information from that.
The interviews are stacking up, Nicole, nearly 1,000 depositions so far.
Wow. Well, you're also reporting that the court's ruling in the RNC's legal challenge against the House January 6th committee has given it new leverage. Why?
In a statement today, the committee said that this ruling by this federal judge in D.C. is a victory for democracy and a victory for the rule of law. What the judge said in a lengthy order is that the committee is properly authorized, properly composed to do its business. And that's long been the criticism of this committee. As you've reported, there's been criticism that there aren't enough members, only 9, that there are only 2 Republicans and not the one selected by Kevin McCarthy. That's been both a political argument against the committee and a legal argument against the committee. What the judge has said in this ruling is that it is properly authorized and that the committee is entitled to get what it's seeking in this singular case against the Republican National Committee. Emails from its email contractor between Election Day and January 6, 2021. If it gets those records, the committee says it'll benefit their investigation, but this ruling, Nicole, benefits the investigation by orders of magnitude more, because it sends a message to other legal challenges that a federal judge, a Trump appointee, has determined the committee is rightfully composed.
It's also been a very busy week in the criminal prosecutions. What's next?
Our first trial for an officer, a former police officer accused of assaulting an officer here on January 6th. A former New York police officer convicted on all counts, including for assaulting a D.C. officer amid the mob. At this point, the Justice Department is batting 1,000 when it comes to jury trials in January 6 cases. They've gotten convictions in every case on all counts. But tomorrow, another important hearing. One of the accused Oath Keepers seditious conspirators appears, trying to get himself released from jail until trial. He's going to make an argument that he was here January 6th, but wasn't part of the plotting and the planning that day. Already in this case of Edward Vallejo of Arizona, he has released text messages or signal messages allegedly exchanged between the Oath Keepers on January 6th, and it was those messages in which the name Ronnie Jackson, the Texas congressman, the former Trump White House physician, his name surfaced, in which the Oath Keepers allegedly expressed concern about Jackson's safety here that day. Jackson has since says he doesn't know the men who sent those messages and won't participate in the committee's investigation. But we're watching tomorrow to see if there are any more illustrative revelations in this standalone case of Edward Vallejo, who's pleaded not guilty to that highest level charge of seditious conspiracy.
Well, switching gears, I also want to talk to you about what you're hearing on the Hill about the leaked Supreme Court draft in regards to abortion. I know you spoke with Senator Sen Murkowskis of Alaska. She, along with Maine Senator Susan Collins, are really taking a lot of criticism. So what was her reaction?
Senator Murkowski is in this unique political space that you and I have watched over the years. She's one of two Republicans who introduced this bill to protect abortion rights, to codify Roe versus Wade into law. And her reaction, she said, to the leak of this Supreme Court order was that it was shocking, but also that it underscored the need to pass that reproductive rights bill in short order. She says it was important when she introduced it in February, and it's more important now. So she remains in this singular space as a Republican with a different take than others in her party. She wasn't fixated on the leak of the order, as other Republicans were today. She was talking about the impact it'll have on Roe versus Wade. But as you reported, as I reported, they need 60 votes to pass that bill. They don't have 60 votes. It's on a path for a dead end. But Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says he will bring it back up. He'll bring these issues up for votes in the coming days.
I know the chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee, Dick Durbin, has also been very vocal on this issue. What is he planning?
Well, we asked him today, are they reconsidering expanding the court and having legislation to make that happen? Are they reconsidering having other messaging bills? He says there is no talk of expanding the court right now. He says there is no talk and really hasn't been talk of doing that in the Senate Democratic caucus. But the messaging bills are a yes. He says he's going to try to put Republicans on the record about some of the exceptions that maybe there should be in abortion law, exceptions for rape and for incest. He wants to get Republicans on the record on that in light of this draft order and ahead of a midterm election cycle in which abortion rights are suddenly among the, if not the, most prominent issue.
My colleague on Capitol Hill, Scott MacFarlane, thank you, and see you soon.
Yes, indeed.